Welcome to Drinking Water Podcast, where we share our journeys to inspire others. Our guest today is Logan Frye, the from Perfect Step, a world-renowned exercise-based therapy center, helping people with paralysis live healthier through cutting-edge physical therapy. Logan has a bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I'm sorry, folks, I got to read this because I can't remember it. But yeah, Logan has a bachelor's degree in kinesiology with an emphasis on health and human performance from the University of Laverne, my alma mater,
Yep,
with a minor in business management.
that's right.
His experiences are group training, personal training, administrative tasks, security, and chiropractic.
Right.
He is the recovery paralysis recovery specialist. Um, Welcome. We were glad to have you. We've known you. I've known you since you're a kid. And I'm just proud to have. I'm proud of you, man. Just proud of what you've done, what you went through, and what you're doing right now. I see what you're doing, and you're a podcaster. You have your own podcast, which is pretty cool. So, how did you get started? So, let's start back from the beginning. What made you pick this field?
Definitely. Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be
Yeah.
on the Water Podcast. I've watched a few of your guys' episodes and all the guests you guys have on. It's been miraculous. The people that you guys have had, it seems like their stories have been fantastic, and just listening to all those people's stories and the education and the background that they have. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to be on with you guys. And like you said, I've known you guys since I was like, man, little. Grew up with Khalil playing sports.
Middle school?
Middle
Did it start in
school, I
middle
think
school?
sixth grade. I think I have a
Yeah.
picture of me and Khalil like at the eighth grade graduation, and like it's pretty awesome that we've
Yeah.
grown up and done our things. Yeah, even from like that point on, playing sports in the backyard and always trying to be outside. I think that led me to want to get a degree in kinesiology and exercise science. Never one of those kids like stay inside too much and watch the screen. I think I always had enjoyment of playing sports, being active. My mom would kick me outside of like go find friends, go find neighbors, do whatever. And I'm happy she did that because if she didn't, I don't think I would be in this field. I don't think I would have been an athlete in college.
Yeah. Baseball,
Kinesiology.
right?
Yeah, baseball, exactly. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
baseball
Yeah.
at University of Laverne for 5 years. Yeah, man, that was the best experience that I ever had. Thanks to my
Yeah.
coaches and thanks to all the people that surrounded me, my teammates. And that also led me to want to continue this path with spinal cord injury and paralysis recovery. As you said, I'm a paralysis recovery specialist at the Perfect Step. That's a long name. Just want to make it clear to all the listeners, though, that I don't claim to be a physical therapist. I don't have a physical therapy degree or doctorate. And none of us at my work, none of us claim to be physical therapists either. We are exercise based recovery program or activity based therapy. It's where we help a lot of people with spinal cord injuries, traumatic brain injuries, strokes, any type of neurological disorder. We help any of those people to recover from their ailments and from their injuries and diagnosis, helping them recover in the sense of not just the physical, but the mental, the emotional tolls that these injuries take on them. I can't speak for them because I've never experienced that myself, never been in their shoes. But what we do on our podcast as well, that's called Pathways to Healing, is we try to share their stories and we try to allow people in the able-bodied community outside of the SCI or neurological paralysis recovery community. We try to allow people to understand and know where these people are coming from, what they've been through, and what their diagnoses are. And then we try to provide a resource for these people too. So that way, when we have our medical professionals on or we have clients of our own from the Perfect Step on, when they're sharing their stories, we want people that are just newly injured or diagnosed to be able to look for a resource to where they can find information about this injury diagnosis because there's so many unanswered questions.
What made you go to that specific niche? Like, because you could have went, there's other directions you could go to in kinesiology, right?
Right, right.
So what made you go to that? Is there something like we call that drinking water moment that go, hey, I think I want to, this is where I want to go.
Definitely. Yeah. At first I was thinking about chiropractic when I got to Laverne about my freshman year at Laverne. I was set in on chiropractic, and that's when you mentioned earlier I did my chiropractic internship. I'm grateful that he allowed me to do that there, and I
Wait,
loved
hey, pronounce that one more time for me.
it. Oh, me too. Chiropractic. Yeah, my chiropractic.
Got it.
Actually, I could backtrack a little bit. Actually, though. Before that, I was a senior in high school at Colony, and I had a really good friend that I met through social media. Funny enough, Met her through social media. We were good friends for about 6 months to a year. She actually ended up having a spinal cord injury. I got a call one day that she was in the ICU, and me and my other buddy,
Wow.
oh man, like what's going on? What happened? We wanted to figure out what happened with her. She ended up having a spinal cord injury and getting ejected from her vehicle,
Wow.
and getting injured. So after that, we ended up going to the hospital, visiting her. We went to a world-renowned place called Casa Clina over in Pomona, California. We went to go visit
Yeah.
her. She was in transitional living. And then after that, we took her to a few sessions at my work now, but back then it was called Project Walk, actually. So it was a
Okay.
different name, different company, but still my same boss, who's also a quadriplegic. He started this about 17 years ago. When he got injured, he
Wow.
wanted to start a place of his own to where people can go recover and where people can go do therapy and didn't have to go down to Carlsbad, which is where the other location started in Carlsbad, California.
Wow.
He wanted
Okay.
people within the IE and LA County to have somewhere else to go. So we went to go visit her at that location. I really loved the methodology, the way my boss described it, my boss now, the way he described it and his passion for those people, and made me just like fall in love with the ability to help people in that kind of way. And
Yeah.
then sort of a community that I feel like doesn't have enough resources and doesn't have enough help and isn't, I think sometimes is, I don't want to say neglected, but doesn't have enough people within this realm that are maybe helping them out. So
Now,
uh,
is there when you say enough resources, is there resources out enough out there, or and we just don't, or they just don't know about it, or is it really not enough?
I think at that time there wasn't enough. I think it's gotten
Okay.
better and better over time as far as like making sure that there's a lot of accessible things now. And I think there's still even some things, resources that lack, right? Like I think about the airports that come to mind right away. How many
Hmm.
of my clients' chairs that get damaged in airports constantly? And
Oh,
they'll
I didn't even know. Never thought about that.
yeah, they'll go fly somewhere and get their chair back after landing at their destination, and they'll have curves or breaks in their wheels and spokes, or their chair will be damaged in some sort of way sometimes. Not always, but sometimes this does happen.
Sometimes.
So we want to
Wow.
make sure that there is like those kind of resources and there's knowledge out there that things like this are happening, and let's see if we can shed some light on this so we can prevent those kinds of things from happening. And how can we make this world to be more accessible? Because this world is definitely made for people that are able-bodied before it
Yeah.
was, for people in chairs, obviously. So that was kind of the goal back then. I ended up having a sophomore class my sophomore year that was called Foundation of Kinesiology. And we took a field trip over to my now work called The Perfect Step. And that's where I got to learn a lot more about what we do. And because of my friend having her injury, because of just loving exercise and loving the ability to move your body and loving all the positive effects you can gain from exercise, that all led me into wanting to apply at The Perfect Step when I graduated college back in
Nice.
2021.
So your college experience there, let's see, I tried to major in kinesiology, which was funny
How did you?
because yeah, that was gonna be my major. I took the classes for teaching, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I was gonna teach PE. And at the time they say, yeah, you need a kinesiology degree, blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, I'm gonna take it. I didn't realize how much not bio, is it bio? You have to know the body and all that stuff. You can just there were some classes I said, there's no way I'm getting through this. So what were the challenges for you in college? I guess that's what I need to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Tommy can definitely relate to a lot of this too, taking all those classes, especially biology.
Yeah,
Biology was not easy. Like, yeah, maybe you can speak on
Yeah.
that a little bit too, Tommy, because it's
I had kinesiology, but I had it as an AA degree,
okay.
because like NAU didn't have kinesiology; they had exercise science. Exercise science is way more of of those biology classes, chemistry classes, that I would have had to take at first. Like originally, I didn't understand it. Like so, it was very hard for me to like the kinesiology classes at Mount Sac were pretty good. They like ease your way into like how to learn about the body. Like it was a lot less like I want to say like intense than maybe a college like level like Laverne or like NAU's exercise science classes were. But yeah, taking the biology class that I had to take in order to pass even just my undergrad, like to pass fitness and wellness as a minor, but it was a lot. Like they threw a lot at you and in a short period of time. And it took me just a while to learn. And ironically, I had to learn it again, which I thought the second time around was a lot better only because I had like some base of knowledge of it. But yeah, it ain't easy. Tell you that, but it's not definitely not for somebody who doesn't want to be in it. If you have to just pass the class, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you have to just pass the class, it's not.
Yeah.
It's yeah. If you have to
Not
just
good.
pass the class, oh well, I got to get through this so I can get my degree in it.
Yeah.
It's not fun as if you going into it thinking, nah, I'm gonna use this later.
Yeah.
So
I
that's what I
think
would say.
you can relate to this too, but when I started at Laverne, my first 2 years was a lot of like GE courses, right? A lot more of like those
Yeah,
general ed, math, English,
yeah,
some electives. But as soon as I got into like junior year, senior year, and then my 5th year, all those
yeah,
kinesiology classes that like it got harder, definitely got more difficult, but I was able to
yeah,
find a lot more passion, I think, in those
yeah,
classes. So I was like, oh,
yeah,
these are classes that I really actually do care about a lot more. Not to say like I didn't care about like math and writing, but I really didn't care about it that much. It was felt like I was going
yeah,
to high school again, where
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the kinesiology, anatomical kinesiology, biomechanics, anatomy and physiology, human physiology, exercise physiology, doing all those labs and taking those classes. I feel like when I had good professors, which for the most part I did, they were able to teach me so much and give me an understanding of it that helped me to apply that to what I was doing in work. And at that time, I was starting to work in personal training in college while playing baseball. And I remember just like learning things in class and then going and applying those things into my job right away. And for
Oh
that, it
wow.
yeah,
was really cool to me because I was like, dang, I just learned this 2 days ago. And this is what muscle we're contracting. This is the joint angle that we're using. And all of those kind of like started to come into play and it all made sense. So it was really fun.
yeah. No, that's pretty cool. You're actually better than me because I didn't know specifically like right out of college what I was gonna do. I thought I was gonna be personal training, so I was like, all right, fitness and wellness. I'll use that as a base, and I'll understand how to train the body. But it really was just my experience going into a gym. So it's like
Love it.
now where I learned like I had to relearn to get my CSCS. Like I had to relearn about the body, about the joint angles, about different contraction speeds, think different things like that. To where now it's like I needed to actually use that, and I was able to do what you did. So I would learn it, understand it, and then apply it. And that made it a whole lot better versus trying to pass it and then I mean we had football all day, so it was like
Yeah.
going from classes to just like I'm just gonna pass it so I can I just need to go play. And then after that, it's like after I was done, it was like all right, personal training, and then I'm like, dang, like what did I remember? Like what did I like because I wasn't applying it right away like maybe you were. So
No, yeah.
yeah, I mean different experiences, but definitely understanding it was yeah, it was different, man.
Yeah, I would love to have you on like our podcast too, and for you to talk about more your background and your knowledge, man. I've been watching some of the things that you're doing, and I love what you're doing with strength and conditioning, and I want to learn more about all of that because that's such a different realm, right? Like it's kinesiology, right? It's like it's kinesiology. Sometimes it's exercise science, it's movement science, but like at the same time, it's a lot of different little intrinsic things that you're doing and versus what we're doing, and like it's good to like have those things kind of come together and see like what we can learn from you what
Yeah, yeah,
learn from us
Oh,
and like
that'd be
us.
great.
And I think it's really cool to talk to hear your story because I haven't talked to you in a while, and it's good to
yeah, yeah.
catch up about what you've been up to.
Now,
Cool.
who was one of your mentors? Did you have a mentor coming, graduating, and all that?
Great question. I think as soon as I graduated from Laverne, I got a job at this place called Village Fitness and Physical Therapy. It's in Glendora, and I was working that's when I was working as a group coach and a personal trainer right away.
Hmm.
And one of my mentors actually was my operations manager at that time. His name was Chuck, and that guy took me under his wing, and he just like showed me not only the things about movement and about exercise, but he taught me a lot more of like the business aspects of like how to talk to an individual if you're trying to get a client for personal training, how to approach somebody, how to start a conversation with somebody that you're trying to make a client, and not making it sales based, but making it more like a personal approach to where like showing them that you care about them first versus just trying to sell them personal training. Chuck was one of them. He went to APU actually. And then my boss right now, Hal Hargrave Jr., the one that's a quadriplegic who had a spinal cord injury. Man, that guy has been a fantastic model for me. He's not only a sense of like, he's also a client too at our work. So he's my boss, right? He's a president CEO of The Perfect Step. But
Hmm.
because he's a quadriplegic, we also get to train him as a client. So I
Hmm.
was able to learn based on what his body is like and how he's responding to my training sessions with him. Like Tommy said, I was able to, learn that in-house training process that we had, which was 4 to 6 weeks at the Perfect Step. everybody typically starts as an assistant, a paralysis recovery assistant. And then if there's a position available in an opening, then you can apply to be a paralysis recovery specialist. And so that's what I
Okay.
applied for when I started in
So
December.
when you're an assistant, is that like a internship kind of?
It's like a it's so you're still an employee of the Perfect Step, but what happens?
Okay.
Assistants, man, they're like our glue. They hold us together. Their job is just as important as ours, if not more important, because they go around and they help each specialist. Right? We have about 9 to 10
Yeah.
specialists on staff.
Okay.
Each of those
Okay.
assistants to go around and help each client, each specialist with grabbing equipment, doing setups, helping with lifts, lifting clients out of their chair onto the table or whatever machine that we're using.
Oh,
So those assistants, like, man, they hold us together, and shout out to them because without them, our job would be really difficult. Um, and so with that process, being an assistant and then becoming a process recovery specialist, I was able to learn on Hal's body. And kind of like what Tommy mentioned is like you learn more in practice when you apply what you were learning. So I was able to apply that. And I'm more of like a hands-on learner, more than just
mhm.
like a visual and auditory learner. Like I feel like I have to be doing it in order to really learn and take in everything. So it was nice to be able to like use Hal's body as an example for training and then like feel his body and understand like his feedback that he gave me, hey, move my leg a little bit further this way, or raise my leg a little bit higher so I can complete this movement, or put me in this position the way that I can feel my back correctors engage, or whatever it was. It's incredible because even somebody with a spinal cord injury without sensation, he's still able to give me all these cues because he understands and knows his body so well because of being injured
Wow.
for so long. And he's had, man, this guy's had hundreds of different trainers that have worked with him.
Yeah.
So he's taken on and learned a lot from them, and then he's
Yeah.
given feedback. So thankfully, I was able to be a part of that process. So that's how he's been one of my mentors too.
So how do you, so when, so say, did you have something to ask, Tommy? I'm sorry.
No, no, that was a yeah. I mean, because most of your exercise fields, a lot of times are what's called mentorship based. Like we're heavy on mentors and who was your mentor or who are you connected with. Like just like there's probably the same. Like who is your mentor? And then it kind of just like if you have a good mentor, like you're doing the right things. So no, I don't have any questions for
Okay.
that. That's
Definitely.
pretty spot on.
It's a good ad.
Okay. What I wanted to ask is that, so say I'm a new client, because you're saying he knows his body, he was telling you where to go with it and all that.
Right.
Someone new that, I mean, because what do you work on first? Do you work on the mental part of it first?
Great question. I mean, that's a huge important role, right? And you can imagine having this catastrophic injury happen to you one day, all of a sudden. I mean, it could happen to any of us anytime.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
right? That's a huge important part of it. And thankfully, because of that mental, toll that this can take on a lot of our clients, we do have a marriage and family therapist across the street right next to
Oh,
us.
wow.
She used to be a specialist, what I do. And so she actually helps and she specializes in helping people with disabilities. So for that mental toll that's taken on them, they can go over across the street to see Jenna. Her name's Dr. Jenna Hardy. Jenna Serena now, actually. So they'll go to her sometimes for therapy sessions if they want to. And then we also have a chiropractor across the street. We have there's that word again, chiropractor across the street. And then we have an
Yeah.
acupuncture, and then we have a massage therapist across the way too. But where they come to us is definitely we're more tailored to focus on the exercise
Physical.
physical
Okay.
aspects of everything. But not to mention still like the emotional and the mental gains that our clients are getting from coming to our place at the Perfect Step is still positive, still great because
Yeah.
the community aspect that we have. We have multiple clients in the building at one time, right? Sometimes up to 10 clients in the building at one time. So when new clients come in, we have a lot of ambassadors for us and other clients that have been there for a long time that do a really good job at making those people feel welcome when they come into the building for the first time. Hey, welcome. How's it going today? How are you? What's your story? Or how can I help you? What questions do you have? So we have an ambassador. We have a couple ambassadors right now. Two of them. I can say their names because there's no HIPAA violation with us. But one is Jane,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah, and one is Rosa, and they're both fantastic ambassadors for us, and they make people feel really welcome when they come in. So thankfully, because of that community aspect that we have, I think the mental and emotional gains that our clients are able to make outside of just our therapy sessions have been tremendous for them.
Isn't that amazing how a simple greeting could
It is.
change everything, change the day, change everything once you walk in? Because I know when and I just, it's nothing like the injuries they had, but I had a back problem about 5 years ago. And I remember going into this therapy and the assistants you had, they were great too. And The people were just great, and it just kept me at ease when I first my mind going in, man, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. I just want to lay down. My back hurt. I am not trying to do all this stuff, right? And then I go in there, and they made me feel comfortable. They made me feel relaxed. Then I start talking to them about my day, about everything else, like I'm at the barbershop. So
Right.
it's just amazing. So, it's like, and then, you as a therapist, or I'm sorry, what's your title?
It's a long title, so it's hard to remember. But it's
Okay.
paralysis recovery specialist. It's very long.
Okay, so you as a recovery specialist, I know you get those stories and you get to hear those you get to really know them personally. So that's great. Progress wise, like so they come in, they get to you. You were saying your boss, your mentor, he taught you how to move the body and where to go, right? Am I getting that?
Yeah.
So a new person coming in, are you constantly talking and asking questions or to get that same like the feel of their body, how it should move? How does that work when if you're a therapist hands-on and you're getting a new client?
Great question. Yeah, 100%. So we have tours. We have all of our clients start with a tour of the facility. And
Okay.
honestly, that's a big aspect that kind of draws them in to want to be a client because they see our facility, they see the machines, they see everything that we have to offer. And I think that already kind of draws them in, right? So after
Yeah,
their
yeah.
tour, then most of the time they'll plan an evaluation. They'll schedule an initial evaluation. In that evaluation, it's a 2 hour evaluation. We'll start with initially, it'll be a video and it'll be questions and it'll be information about our program as a whole, which is what our lead administrative does. She does a great job at that. And then after that's over, about 30 minutes, she'll pass that client on to a specialist. And each one specialist will do that now initial evaluation for the new client, right? When that evaluation starts, now we'll ask them questions about emotional contentment. So we'll ask them an emotional contentment test. It'll be a quality of life test and secondary complications test. Emotional contentment will be like it'll be a Likert scale, right? So we'll ask them, we'll say certain words like how tense are you feeling, and so on. Or okay, how energetic are you feeling today? And then they'll answer based off 1 through 5. One will be for just for an example. This isn't exactly how it is, but just for an example, one will be like not at all, and then 5 will be very much, and then there's 2 through 4 in between that scale, right? So it'll be that emotional contentment test, quality of life, secondary complications. What secondary complications do they have? Do they have a pressure sore? Are they suffering from a UTI right now, bladder infections, which happens all the time? Do they have a low bone density? Questions go on and on with that one, right? And then we'll write down notes and we'll keep it on, or actually on our laptop. We have this new evaluation system where everything's online. It's been fantastic because before everything was on paper. And so we had to keep track of all these papers, all these files. And
You
now
have
we
to
have
write them
one
down.
website that we can go to where all the client information for that evaluation, everything is online. Everything is on this app that we use. So we have our laptop, we're working on that. And then after the emotional contentment evaluation and learning more about their body, then we'll get into muscle testing. We'll take this
And this
client.
all in one day?
It's all in 2 hours. Yeah,
2 hours.
all in 2 hours.
Dang, 2 hour session. Wow, wow. Okay.
After this, we'll get into their muscle testing. So if they're quadriplegic or if there's somebody that's affected from pretty much like neck level down, we'll test every single muscle that we can in their body. All right. So we'll do like bicep, we'll do tricep, we'll do everything. And then everything that we're testing is all against gravity, right? If they're a paraplegic, obviously we only test the trunk down. So because their trunk is still affected as a paraplegic and their legs, but we don't test the arms because their arms aren't affected as a paraplegic.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have a special population evaluation for anybody that's not a spinal cord injury. And then we have a spinal cord injury evaluation as well. So those two are separate.
Gotcha.
And then after that, we'll get into a functional movement assessment. This is when we'll test, like, okay, can you roll over from your stomach to your back? Can you sit in a certain position and have your back straight with your hands up off the table? Can you get into quadruped or hands and knees? Can you get into kneeling? And then can you get into standing? And then lastly, can you get into walking? And based on how good they do during this evaluation, they'll get a score. Right? And on this certain score that they have, now each new evaluation that we have, they will get tested 6 months after their initial evaluation if they decide to be a client, if they decide that we're a good fit for them. And then after that 6 month evaluation, all of our clients get another evaluation every year after that to keep tracking their progress and to keep making sure that our program is working for them. and that they're having, a good positive experience in our program. So those evaluations are based on number skills, but however, there is still like, we'll take notes down too of like how they like the program, what are some things they want to change. We do client feedback forms so they can fill out the client feedback form each year and say what they want to change in their sessions or what they want their specialists to work on more with them. But those evaluations are super, super important, like you said, because they're all online now. So whenever somebody were to take my client, let's say I go on vacation, or let's say I have a day off, now anybody that's covering my client for
Everything's in.
me, yeah, they can go inside our evaluation system or go inside the Apex view and check on what we've been working on for the last 3 months or whatever, and check on that client's goals and check on whatever else that's in that information. And then now they can feel more
Nice.
prepared for that client's session when they're covering it.
Yeah. So, man, I just drew a blank what I was going to ask you. Um,
Hope that
you
answered
said the evaluation. Oh my goodness.
So that's all in 2 hours, huh? Like, I mean, that is a lot of like evaluations you guys do throughout. So is it like more so like you said, and this is all for versus gravity, so they're not on any machines or anything like that that
Right.
you guys are using.
Exactly. That's the cool thing too about like our methodology that we have is all the training that we do with our clients, 99% of the time they're outside of the wheelchair. And that's
Yeah.
where we're a little bit different than traditional physical therapy, because traditional physical therapy for the most part, I can't speak on it too much because I'm not a traditional physical therapist, but for the most part, they'll work above the injury level and they'll help our clients to regain movement or sensation and function where they already kind of have that movement, right? As opposed to
Yeah.
us, we get all of our clients outside of the wheelchair to reverse the negative effects of the wheelchair. And then where we start to help our clients is we start from the ground up, essentially. We start where they lost all their movement, all their function, and we help them to regain from where they all lost it and then back up through their body, right? So we really
Oh
focus
no.
on what they're trying to get back. And not to say that like that's end all be all for a lot of our clients. Like some of our clients don't just have goals of walking again. A lot of our clients have goals of feeding themselves or driving again or being able to go to college again. Whatever their goals are, honestly, that's where we attack. We just attack those goals specifically, and then we tailor our program to the individual instead of it being just like a cookie cutter approach. We really make sure that it's like specified for that one specific person.
No, yeah, that's pretty.
So, how often do you guys, for training, how do you keep up with the technology that's out today and whatever that's new? How often do you guys do retraining and stuff like that?
Great question too. So actually today, they're having it's called an advanced functional electrical stimulation training. And they're doing that today, actually. For all the people that haven't done it yet, we did this same thing about a year and a half ago with all the specialists. So I'm not there today because we just went through it. But we do a lot of workshops continuously. Like not too long ago, about 6 months ago, we had this lady from not Neurofit, I'm sorry, Zebrafish Neuro. And she came and taught us a lot more about like her protocols and her advancements and what she does with spinal cord, and she taught us different exercises and different movements that we can do with our clients and try. And then we actually do have specialist staff meetings to where we work on like education and different things of like what's out there. Like recently we had somebody come on also from this company called Arc, and then no, it's called Onward actually. So Onward's the name of the company, but the thing they're having us use, what they taught us about was called Arc. And so that's like a stimulator that goes directly into like the vertebrae and into like the
Wow.
spinal cord region. And they're trying to allow a lot of our quadriplegic clients to like regain just like small little like finger movements even, right? To be able to reach and grab something. So we had that recently. There's always like continuous like workshops that we have in order to try to have our specialists to be more educated. And that's all thanks to my two bosses. Also, one name is Nicole, and the other one is Ashton. They're always looking for like new and improved things that we can use, whether it's machines, modalities, or whatever it is that we can be more educated and help more people with. So I think those are some of the newer ones. And then the functional electrical stimulation one that I mentioned, that's a huge important aspect of what we do. It's not necessarily part of it isn't in tune with our methodology, but a lot of it is in tune with our methodology. We have a methodology
Gotcha.
to help with neurological recovery, right? So we're thinking like central nervous system training. So from the brain
Mm.
down to the body, we're trying to have our clients connect from their brain to their body again. And that's part of our methodology. Another part of it is exercise based therapy. So any other exercise that we can do with our client outside of that outside of that nervous system training is exercise-based therapy. Whether they're doing chest presses or they're doing bicep curls or they're doing sit-ups and ab work or trunk stability work, that's all in our component of exercise-based therapy. And then number three is load bearing. Load bearing because when our clients are sitting all the time, this happens in able-bodied individuals too, but since our clients are always sitting, they're losing a lot of that bone density, right, over time. So osteopenia and osteoporosis starts to set in. So where load bearing comes into good play is it helps with decreasing how quickly they're losing their bone density and helps them to maintain their bone density over time. So we use three of those components. One is nervous system training, one is exercise-based therapy, and the last one is the load bearing component.
Bearing turn. Wow. So what would you say? So if I'm a new, if I just graduated kinesiology with a kinesiology degree and I want to get into your field, what would you say to that person?
Yeah.
Well, how would you? I think I'm wording that right. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would say learn as much as you can. Be a sponge because I'm still learning. Man, I feel like they say like the more you learn, the more you don't know. The more you know, the more you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's exactly how
so
I
true.
feel like all the time because we're learning a lot, but I still feel like there's so much more to learn. There's so much more to know, and I just want to continuously learn. I think what I would tell them is be a lifelong learner, be a sponge, ask questions all the time, especially how and what questions. I would say leave your ego at the door. Like you think you know everything, you don't know everything. Leave your ego at the door. I would say like don't be fearful. Don't be scared. Like don't be scared to continue to speak for yourself, ask questions, and go out there and just start somewhere. Because sometimes people in careers they want to start at the top, right? But everybody has to
Yeah,
start somewhere. You got to start at the
yeah,
bottom sometimes, and sometimes you got to clean the bathrooms. Like I started cleaning the bathrooms at the perfect step, right? You started mopping the floors. Like you have to start somewhere in order to get to where you want to go eventually. So I would say like don't be afraid to, and that kind of comes with like leaving your ego at the door, right? Like don't be afraid to knock all those things out that nobody wants to do. Do everything that nobody wants to do first, and then
yeah.
eventually maybe you'll be able to do what you want to do.
What was the biggest obstacle or the biggest challenge for you coming in, and what's the biggest challenge for you now?
Yeah, man. I think the biggest obstacle for me coming in was I was working three jobs at the time.
What?
I was working at In and Out. I was working at Village Fitness and Physical Therapy, and then I was working at the Perfect Step. That was my third job that I got. So I think my biggest challenge during that time was like time management, and then making sure that I was keeping my relationships with my family, with my peers, my friends. I think I kind of lost sight of that. Like some of my friends said, "Dude, you disappeared for like 9 months. Where were you?" And I think I was just trying to like save as much as possible, and I really did love it. Like I don't think I took an emotional toll of like working that much. It was very challenging in the sense of like I didn't have a lot of time. Or I didn't make a lot of time for a lot of my friends and family. That was really hard at first, but I think once I became a specialist, I was able to leave my job, Village Fitness, and then I was still In and Out for a little bit, and I was able to leave In and Out and then just work at the Perfect Step. So
Wow.
that was difficult during that time, just by juggling those things. But and I think my biggest obstacle right now or challenges right now is looking for I guess looking for what to learn more of. Like I think sometimes like my own mind gets in the way of like I want to do this. Oh, okay, no, but I also want to do this. No, oh, hold on, wait. There's also this that I want to do too. So like I think like being more not like narrow minded because I don't want to be too narrow, but still like putting my attention and my focus towards one specific thing, getting that done, and then starting on the next thing, as opposed to having all these ideas, trying to be a little more focused on one thing and then moving on to the next. I think that's kind of been like it's been like a challenge lately because of like
Yeah,
I want to be able to support my girlfriend and my dog, and I want to be able to buy a house and do all those adult things. Right? I want to be able to make as much money as I can right now, but by helping as much people as I can. So I think like taking it one step at a time has been hard, but I think that's been probably my biggest obstacle as of lately, is just being more focused on what I want to be focused on.
what's the most rewarding?
Oh man, so many things. The list doesn't end. I think the most rewarding is being able to work with people every day,
Hmm.
being able to have all my family and friends be healthy around me. That to me is rewarding as heck. Like being able to wake up and text or call my mom or dad and know they're doing good and know they're healthy.
Yeah,
Rewarding also in the sense of like my job is being able to go to work every day and then ask somebody that's in a wheelchair, "Hey, how you doing today?" And they're like, "Man, I'm doing great. I can't complain." To me, it's like, wow, that's
yeah,
moving. It's
Yeah.
like I have all these complaints, right? When I wake up, man, it's early, I'm tired, and my back hurts, blah blah blah. Right? Like I'm not thinking straight today, whatever it is, right? And then I go to work and I ask one of my clients, hey man, like how was your weekend? It was great. I did this and that, and I was able to, feed myself. I was able to move my finger for the first time. I was able to kick my leg off my wheelchair. I think those kinds of things to me are like so rewarding because it's humbling for one, but for two, it's like very rewarding to hear that somebody that has lost so much is still so grateful for what they do still have.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a, I call that God is kind of hitting you on the back of the head instead of, whenever we start complaining, we listen to other people's stories and God is saying, hey, you're still blessed. You're still here. They're blessed. You're blessed. We all blessed in our own ways. That's great, man. So transition to you personally. It looks like you're back on this, because your personal fitness.
Yeah,
How's that going? How's that journey going?
yeah, it's going good. I do have aspirations of like wanting to be a bodybuilder one day.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I want to be a bodybuilder, and I want to do it naturally. That's the thing. That's the thing that's the hardest, I think, is doing it naturally. There's so many
I
things.
can't see you in those Speedos, though. I'm kidding.
He played water polo. He played water polo in
Oh,
high
that is
school.
right. I forgot about the. I see. I'm so used to the baseball. I forgot about water polo. That is right.
Me too
He
sometimes. I've
played.
been doing it 4 years, but no, you're right. Like the speedo thing is gonna be funny. Yeah, I don't know, cause like it's hard. Like I do want to be a bodybuilder. That's definitely one of my goals. I want to be a business owner. But as far as like being a bodybuilder, I think like I love
Same type of business.
any type of business. You said? Something having to do with like personal training, but also
Uh,
me and my girlfriend. Like I can speak on it because she's not here right now, but so I can speak on it. But we're kind of looking at like maybe trying to start like a dirty soda type of like business thing.
kind of like Death Water, whatever that is.
It's like poppy. It's like a prebiotic soda kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Doing
yeah.
the cream
Okay.
with it and trying to figure out like how we can have it at the farmers market over here in Claremont. That's like a
Oh,
big
that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool.
But like I said, too many things, right? Like I need to focus on one or two things. But the fitness thing aspect is going well. It's challenging. Tommy, you can relate to this too. Like just both of you guys can. Like going to the gym or moving your body and like how uncomfortable can I make myself feel? Like how out of my comfort zone
Hey,
can
don't put me in that because I only do things that make me feel comfortable. I don't challenge myself. Don't do that. That's you two. You two. I'm
I,
kidding.
I only relate to that in the sense of like the hardest part is just for me because the times I have to work out are at 5 a.m. So challenging parts are getting up and doing it
oh
for me.
my God.
Like for me, getting up and being able to try to do that, that's the challenging part. Just because I feel it. I feel every ache, every pain, especially after my hard lift days. It's like to come back and try to lift hard again. Like those are like what I again like I'm not sitting here training, the four times, 4 times a week plus weekend scrimmages, like I'm not doing that anymore. So
Right.
like going from not doing it for a while to trying to do it again, like I just got back into like trying to run full speed again,
Nice.
which is like the most intense thing somebody could do, right? I think like especially in our field, like a sign of wellness, a sign of health would be how late in your age can you continue to sprint? Like that's kind of something. Like it's kind of something like you can lift weights, you can do all those things that are stationary, but it's like the sign of a true like healthy ish person. To like just looking at them is a sign of like, okay, can they still run at full speed and how fast? Like that's kind of like where you look at certain things like that. So
I tried
it's
it 2 months ago and I was aching for 2 days.
I don't hey Logan, I don't know if you heard of this though. You were talking about you trying to do it naturally, right? Have
Right.
you ever have you heard of body recomp?
Body recon. It sounds familiar. What is it?
So it's like where you intake more protein than you do carbs. It's like where your body goes into like ketosis a little bit.
Mm,
I went to this conference for like my CEUs, which is continuing education.
yeah.
But I went to it, and a bodybuilder had actually spoke on ways to do it naturally, and it's intaking, like protein, like a lot more than you do, obviously, than you a lot more than you do carbs and you do fats or anything like that. But it's like the body recomp, so it's like it switches. Athletes use a lot of carbs
Right.
for our energy source It just switches that, and now you're using your fats that you had, so you're burning the fat off while intaking more calories. Yeah, while intaking more protein. I was like, to give you the physique. It doesn't necessarily work, in my opinion. Like for athletes actually need the carbs, just because their bodies are, like they also need to put on weight. Carbs come from, like that's where a lot of our weight comes from. I say are very lightly because I'm not an athlete as much anymore, but yeah, yeah, but I do see like you did. Did you do Squattober this past year
Yeah,
again,
2 years
or
ago. 2 years ago I did it. But no, that
2 years?
sounds interesting, man. Like, I really wanna learn more about that, and maybe we can connect, like, I could learn from you about that because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds interesting.
I still have the PowerPoint slides. I can actually send them to you, and then you can look through it too.
Dude, that
So, yeah, it's a natural way to like get your body to like body recomp is what he called it. I'm again paraphrasing, just because his session was very long, and it was like like he gave a lot of good information. But he definitely showed like different ways that you could use like the natural way of kind of building those muscles and gaining what you want or what you need out of that for bodybuilding.
that's awesome, man. I love that. And what was those continuing education units for? What were you using that for?
So you put them towards your CSCS, or like my CSCS that I have to get CEUs like I want to say every 2 years or every 4 years. There's like a certain amount of CEUs you have to get in order for you to still hold on to your certification, or you just retake the test every 2 years or 4 years or something like that. But after a certain amount of time, like you're like technically good to hold on to it for a while. But it's just like, yeah, within that first 2 years, like you have to have, continuing education moments, conferences, connect with people. That's kind of like, I'm pretty sure you know about this too, but that's big in our field is like, like networking,
Huge.
yeah. So it's pretty interesting.
What's been the, like, best one you've gone to so far? Which one stood out to you the most? What conference that you've been to?
I've seen a lot of the online ones. So like the one I went to in person, San Diego, that's what they called like the Southwest Region Conference. That one was really good. There's a lot of coaches there. Not so much like collegiate, more private sector coaches. That went to that conference, and I got to see like like their perspectives. There was a UCLA coach that actually came and spoke. I connected with him, just continuing to ask questions. But
Right.
one that I really enjoyed or
Real
really
quick,
stood.
Tommy, before you go on, let me, because I didn't introduce you. I just realized. So this is Tommy Dorsey. Tommy, where's your field?
My field is strength and conditioning at NAU, Northern Arizona University.
And what title do you hold there?
I am a graduate assistant strength and conditioning coach on there. So as an assistant, just we're getting paid through our, tuition for graduate school. So
Got you.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead with the conference.
yeah. So
Yeah, all right.
about
Oh,
2 years ago,
sorry, what year are you in right now?
I'm in my this is my second year in a graduate program. This is my first year at NAU
Okay.
because I was at St. John's for a year as a GA, and then now I'm at NAU as a GA, and then yeah,
Awesome,
yeah.
man. What's your master's gonna be in?
Higher education. So like I think it's like higher education and community college or something like that. It's like something to where we can still do, still continue to work in strength and conditioning without having to like leave or anything,
Right.
while still getting an education or a graduate degree.
Okay.
I already have a master's in
Yeah.
relations. So it's like
Wow.
I'm really doing the strength and conditioning portion of it for the experience.
I love it, man. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off. What was the best conference?
One I went to online, just because of like again like the travel expenses it's expensive to travel like everywhere. But one I did online for it was called the Kansas Strength and Conditioning Sports Performance Clinic or something like that. But they actually had really good coaches speak, and it was like the coach from Wisconsin, Maryland, like a lot of the big powerhouse schools came and spoke, and they really spoke a lot on leadership and how you apply it and how like they really spoke on a lot of those things, which I have really enjoyed, especially in this field. Like I'm catching myself doing the same thing you're doing, where I want this, I want to do this, I want to learn about this, but my mind can only take me learning one thing at a time.
Yes.
So I have to slow it down at times, and I have to read one book at a time at times. So I'll read like a performance book and a life book, whether it's spiritually, whether it's a business. Like I'll try to read a life book and a performance book at once. But yeah, the best conference I've been to was about 2 years ago, and I saw that online, and they spoke heavily on leadership and how to be a like what does it look like, what does culture look like, what does culture drive, like things like that that really like stood out to me, and I was like, oh snap, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. How do you feel like you've been applying now, like what you learned from that conference into your work at NAU? And what do you feel like you've been
Yeah,
doing to apply it?
I feel like I applied a lot to it actually, because funny thing is I recently read Extreme Ownership.
Dude,
So like
love that book.
my perspective on a lot of things changed after I read that. Granted, I was preaching it before that, but I didn't really like, there wasn't a lot of examples that I knew what that looked like.
Yeah,
Like I read,
now that he's read it, he throws it back at me.
there's just that he just kidding. For
I'm
the for
kidding.
the audience watching, he's just kidding. Dad,
Love
come
it.
on.
I'm kidding with you. Go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, but like it's just one of those things where like I really had to just take a look. Again, you take a look in the mirror. You can do that so many times before like I read a full book and understood like in the leadership realm, like a lot of it is on me. So now when I speak to my athletes or when I speak to, kids, a lot of it is just about like, hey, like we got to seriously take a look and look at like it's not just so for example, if we had like not the best lift day, right? First and foremost, I'll address it, but then I'll also take responsibility and go, look, that is completely on me. Like we are gonna get this fixed. I was like, but I need more from you guys, and you will get more from me. Like it's more like it sounds more like that versus originally my thoughts were like, man, these kids just like they got to step it up, but it's like nah, like I also have to do the same. So
Love that.
that perspective has changed a lot, and it's definitely helped me like understand and then applying the things I'm learning at conferences to small things, because you can't do it too much. Everybody does things differently to where you can't draw from everything that you like, because then you start to look a little unpredictable in your day to day. Like if I like something that I just watched, like trying to apply it right away will kind of throw them off from what we've already been doing. Like you can apply it in your like day-to-day speech, maybe that can definitely help. Like, hey, today, I saw this quote, and then you share it with the team, like stuff like that, versus actually applying it to like a culture or something that's already kind of being established. It's kind of difficult in my opinion. So yeah, like a lot of the stuff I learned for conference is going to be for when I am a head strength guy somewhere. So that's where like I'm kind of saving it, writing things down, being like a student of the game as much as I can.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I could tell because like watching your Instagram and watching the stories, and like I want to connect with you more about it, because even just watching everything on social media, because like you see something through social media, it might not be exactly what you think it is. Like there's still so much more to that story, right? But even like seeing you posting, and like it's really cool because like it motivates me to want to work out or to want to get back into exercise and fitness, and motivates me to want to post more. And it's cool to like
Yeah.
see your path of life and what you're doing, man. It sounds like you've been learning so much. So I want to learn from you, bro.
What are the challenges you're facing that personally with your personal fitness goals?
Yeah,
Huh?
man.
Like me
Is it
or Logan? You talking to
both
Logan?
both of you guys?
Okay. Go
I
ahead,
know
Logan.
yours is getting up.
Nah, it is.
I think I struggle with that.
It's early. It's early, cold. Like you
Yeah.
got like
Well, I mean,
you
you.
gotta.
Yeah, Logan, when we were out there, he got me up at 5 in the morning and it's like 30 degrees. Yeah, yeah. It was great though. I loved it. Mainly because I got to work out with him, something we don't.
That's awesome. I can imagine though. Like waking up early at 5 is already hard, and then add 30 degrees to it, and dude, you want to go back into covers probably and feel warm again. That sounds tough.
Yeah.
No, but
I
for
had to be there at 5.
we had to be there for something. Dang,
Yeah.
that's in Flagstaff, right? That's where NAU is at.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So you're down here. Are you down here for like spring break or something right now?
No, we had an uncle recently passed, so we're gonna be celebrating his life today.
Sorry for your loss.
No, it's okay. Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it. But yeah, go ahead. You talk about your challenges.
Yeah. No. I think personally, as far as like the challenges go for me, between like finding, for my fitness, like on top of work, right, like working a 9 to 5, like my coach used to always say, he always tell us like at Laverne, don't be a 9 to 5er, you know, don't be a 9 to 5er. And I think he meant like, don't show up at 9 and leave at 5. Like you get there at
Yeah.
10 minutes early and then you stay late. Like you don't get there right at 9 and clock out right at 5. Like make sure that you're doing more on top of what you're is already asking of you, right? Like don't just be that person that does the bare minimum. So I do like try to get to work early. Like I think most of the time I get there 15 to 30 minutes early before I start, making time for that. But and then also like I'm personal training on the side. I have a couple clients that I'm training at commercial gyms, which sometimes is funny because like we'll get looks like, you don't work here, but you're personal training somebody. How's that work? You know, so sometimes it's funny. We
Yeah.
had a guy at Fitness 19 come up to us like, "Hey man, like, are you personal training this girl right now?" I'm like, "Oh, like, what if I'm just working out with her? And what if I'm not personal training her, you know?" But I understand where he's coming from because like I don't work at that gym, so I really am not really supposed to be doing that. But I do want to. That's why I wanted to start my business and get my own facility one day, the way I can personal train clients outside of what I do at TPS to be able to have my own facility and then not have to worry about training my personal training clients at commercial gyms and that thing. But what's also really cool is that my boss allows us to use our facility to work out on our own.
Beautiful facility, man.
Man, thank you.
That facility is awesome.
I would love to give you guys a tour one day if you guys are free and available. I'd love to have you guys come over and see it. But it's cool because like he lets us use that facility. But I think as far as like my fitness goals go, it's just I think we talked about it earlier a little bit, but just like pushing myself, motivating myself to get out of bed and to do what my clients can no longer do, right? Like my clients motivate
Yeah.
me to like, hey man, like I have the ability to get ready and put my shoes on, put my socks on in 30 seconds. Right. A
Yeah.
lot of my clients, that takes them like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, maybe longer sometimes to put their shoes and socks on. So
Yeah.
taking advantage of like that time and knowing that like how easy it is for me to be able to get up and do those kinds of things compared to a lot of other people, I think that motivates me to be like, man, like get up early. Like who cares? Get up early, get some food in you, go to the gym, get your workout in. And I think what motivates me with that too is just like the love of exercise, like the love of just moving my body and challenging myself outside of my comfort zone. Bodybuilding, I think, is all about like shaping your body to look how you want it to look. And I fell in love with that process because it's like, all right, it's really fun to me. And I'm sure, Tommy, you can relate too, because like we're so passionate in exercise and fitness. But it's like now I can really challenge and try different things on myself that I'm going to ask my clients to do. Right. I want to do something. I don't want to tell my clients to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So putting myself in their shoes and being like, hey, I want you to do this exercise. And if I do it myself, now I can explain it better. Now I can allow them to have a better understanding of what they're going through. I'm asking them to do that. So I think that kind of motivates me too. If like I have these bodybuilding goals, but I also have all these clients that I'm asking to do a lot. So if I'm asking them to do that, why shouldn't I do that myself? So being able to get up early and do that. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I don't get up early. Wake up, make breakfast, and then I'll work out after work for the most part. I like working out
Hmm.
after work too. But I think that kind of keeps me motivated, those things.
Nice.
Yeah, what never ask. That's one of our phrases. Never ask your athletes to do something you wouldn't do. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same with defense, like because not only do you get to like now do you know how it feels, what it should feel like in a way, can't speak just speaking on my behalf. I know like especially with people with injuries, you'll never know how it really feels, but
Right.
yeah,
No, definitely.
like if you
That's a very good insight, bro. Because we use that too on my work, actually. Like, not to say I can become like paralyzed and unparalyzed, but like we can get into a wheelchair. Like they've had us actually recently. We had an outdoor recreational activity. It was Casa Clina Triumph Foundation, which is a nonprofit for people with spinal cord injuries, and then us, the Perfect Step. We all came together and we had an outdoor adventure recreational day where we all went out to the Claremont Club over here, and they actually put all of us able-bodied people in chairs, and we played rugby, we played basketball, we played over the line. They wanted us
Oh, wow.
to be in that wheelchair and then like now play sports and kind of see how it felt. Like I said, want to make sure that like I'm not hurting anyone's feelings or anything. Like I still have no idea what it feels like. We'll never have any idea of what that feels like to be in that position. So I've no like I can't empathize with them. I can sympathize, right? I can sympathize,
Yeah.
and I cannot empathize with our clients.
Yeah.
But it is good because even at my work too, my boss tells us the same thing, Tommy, like go and do functional electrical stimulation on yourself. Put the TENS unit on your or put the electrical stimulation on your forearm and shock yourself and see how it feels. That way you can see how much you're putting into your client when you do that. Or get into we have this big, huge walking machine that's called a Geo.
uh
They're able to be held up by a harness that holds them up and it moves their feet. And one of my mentors, I didn't even mention him, but one of my coworkers, he's in his 50s now. This guy's awesome guy, super, super smart. He's been training people in this field for over 20 years. But he told me too, he told me that, hey man, if you're gonna get your client in that big geo machine, go get yourself in that geo machine first and see how it feels. And then now put the harness on, put the harness tight so you get really uncomfortable and see how it feels first. And then you can figure out if you want to do that with your client.
Nice, nice.
There he is.
What's happening?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm
What an
good.
entrance. What an entrance.
What I missed?
Everything.
Paralysis.
What'd you say?
Wait, nothing, man. No, I was totally just kidding. But his leg, you know.
Yeah, don't do that.
I know that's my bad.
That's crazy.
Can I get a more?
You know what I'm saying? Dang, man.
No, man, you walking
You
around
shouldn't
here.
do that gesture. That's
You said, huh?
don't do that gesture.
What happened?
Hey, I'm kidding. Okay, so one thing you would leave somebody that's trying to get in your field, what would you like to leave our listeners with?
Someone trying to get
Logan.
into my field. As far as I like exercise based or as far as like paralysis recovery.
What what you do, paralysis recovery and then exercise based personal.
Yeah. As far as someone trying to get into this field, man, kind of similar to like earlier, I'd say just learn as much as you possibly can. Go to all the conferences like Tommy was talking about earlier. Continue your education. Go to those conferences. Go to courses where you're continuously just educating yourself. Like we have this online platform that we use that's called Coursera. My boss gave us full use for that. He signed up for the subscription and we can go online to those computers and take whatever classes that we need to brush up on. So like anatomy and physiology, you start to forget some things. It's not everything just sticks in your brain for, 10 to 20 years when you're trying to apply it. So I would say if you're trying to get into this field, just continue to educate yourself, continue to have an open mind, um, be able to fail, like be okay failing, because it's okay to fail and then be able to try to come back and try something different or do a different approach that maybe allow you to have success later on. But it's okay to have failure. And I think not being scared of failure is really important too, not being fearful of that, because then you're going to be able to take risk more. So I think that's a huge important role of being able to get into this field and really honestly in anything, any field or any career, is just be okay to fail.
Nice, nice. And then your personal, what advice would you say if somebody just trying to get fit? 'Cause I know that's what you do on the side, personal training.
Oh man, yeah, I would say stick to the basics. Start. My coach would always use this acronym called KISS. You heard that before?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep. He would use it all the time. Keep it simple, like stick to the basics. Like don't do all this voodoo magic stuff. Like stick to the basics. Like figure out what works for you and do what works for you and then stick to it. Be consistent, have a routine. Consistency is key, especially for our clients and I mean able-bodied people as well, but stay consistent, stick to that consistent route and then continue to apply your knowledge to that too, right? Like the basics do work, man. Like do a squat. Like don't just because you see all these exercises on Instagram of somebody putting their head their foot over their head or
Yeah,
and then all these crazy things that look good. I think sometimes like look and that appeal sells on social media, but what really does work is just consistency. Like what Tommy was saying earlier,
nice.
eat more protein than what you are a lot of carbs if you want to gain more muscle. Or if you're an athlete, focus on the carbs. But if you want to change your body, like let's just say someone's trying to lose 20 pounds, be in a caloric deficit, burn more calories than what you eat. Keep your protein high if you want to keep muscle on. Focus on your recovery. That's a huge part of it. Like we know that when you work out, we're damaging our muscles, we're damaging our body when we work out. But focus on that recovery aspect because that's where the gains are made, right? Your sleep, your water, man, your stress levels. That's huge. Keeping the stress down is huge. You guys are looking at each other. I think like sticking to those.
Cause you're like, no.
What happened?
I said you're speaking to him right now.
Wow. So how can people find you?
Oh man, I would say you can go to my Instagram if you want to, Logan_Frye, Frye. You can go to our website. You can find out information about the perfect step at
Our website is again, what is it?
theperfectstep.com. If you want to go to
Got it.
theperfectstep.com, you could see information about that. If you want to learn more about our nonprofit organization that we have, it's called beperfectfoundation.org.
Be perfect.
And that's our
Nice.
nonprofit that's attached to us. We actually, a lot of our clients and people outside of our clients too, but anybody in the disability community can apply for a scholarship. And when you apply for that scholarship, you can actually, if you get accepted, you can have a certain amount of money that can go towards your therapy, even if it's not at the
Wow.
perfect step. We'll provide money towards your therapy outside of even coming to us just because we want to help you. or we'll help
Nice.
with getting you a wheelchair or getting you catheters or getting you AFOs or KFOs or getting you all these different things that you need. So that nonprofit is awesome. My boss started that when he got injured 17 years ago. Again, it's called Be Perfect Foundation.
Right.
I'll say, yeah, and that's it.
And then your podcast. Come on, you got a lot.
Thank you. Pathways to Healing is the podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Say that one more time. One more time.
Yeah, Pathways to Healing.
Pathways to Healing.
Yep, it's on YouTube. We have video on YouTube also, but then just if you want to just listen to it, Spotify and Apple Podcasts are a good platform too. We appreciate the listen.
Nice.
Yeah, it's still a work in progress, man. You know exactly what it's like, Tommy. Like starting a podcast, it's not super easy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little
No.
challenges and things that come about, like editing and making sure you're asking the right questions and not saying too many ums and your nose and likes and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
it's been fun. It's been a fun process. And I think, like I said, we're trying to make it more like a conversation based too. Like you guys are doing such a good job of making it more of like a conversation. At first, when we started, it was more of like Q&A type of thing. And we have people tell us like, you're so stiff. Like you guys are like robots. Like loosen up a little bit. Like relax your traps. Like calm down. So I think we've been doing better at like making it to be a little more lax and making it a conversation instead of just Q&A.
Nice, nice. Okay, thank you for being on Drinking Water Podcast with Logan Frye and Tommy Dorsey, and then Khalil came in late. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Whatever. During the haircut, all I have is always